How's it going, Critter Family? I hope you all are doing well. Today we are going over a video by Joel Beckman. My dog goes crazy around other dogs. How to get predictable behavior with a unique leash method. It's not unique. You're not special, Joel. I know as much as you want to think so. You were just using yank and crank, compulsion, abusive, aggressive techniques with a dog. It's been done since the beginning of time. You let them get to the end of their leash and you pop them. You pop them at the end of their leash, 6 foot of leverage on a head halter. This video is hard to watch because of how he corrects this black German Shepherd that we're going to see. So, warning to those who do not want to see a dog getting harshly corrected, especially by, on a head halter. So, if you're ready, then let's get started.
Fixing severe leash reactivity is one of the most difficult things, not just in dog training, but you're going to do in life. It is very difficult when the dog is on a leash, frustrated, freaks out, loses its mind. You cannot fix leash reactivity in the middle of it happening. The goal is to get the dog in any way to rehearsal of a behavior, rehearse passing dogs while being good.
Not necessarily in any way, because that means that you do whatever you have to get this dog to rehearse being calm, even if it means abusive, aggressive, aversive techniques. That's not an excuse to abuse your animal. What I will agree with is, yes, you cannot change a behavior while it's happening, meaning in the instance of reactivity. If a dog is reactive, we need to get them out of there. It's actually fairly simple to understand how to prevent that from happening and work with a reactive dog when you know what their triggers are and you know not to set them up over threshold. But that's you can set your dog up for failure very easily, or you cannot. You don't have to take your dog for a hike in a public area where there's lots of dogs and people. You can walk them around your little area. You may have to walk them early in the morning to begin with. You may have to walk them late at night. You may have to you have to take the time it takes. There's no shortcuts in training, and when you do try to take, a shortcut, it takes, twice as long. The slow way is the fast way, and you don't just go to the busiest part, the most, the most stimulating spot in the park. You don't go out to the beach. You don't go do this and that. You don't go for a hike. Okay, for a while you're gonna have to put up with that until your dog is able to, until you take the time to teach your dog to be calm, which is possible. I do it all the time.
And you might say, oh, well, yeah, that's pretty obvious. It's not that obvious, though. Because how difficult is it to even get to that point? Or how far away do you have to be? What threshold do you have to be at?
It depends on each dog.
The goal is to get them by a dog by any means necessary.
No, not by any means necessary.
So they rehearse going by a dog without rehearse doing the bad behavior, freaking out on leash.
I'll leave a link in the description below of another video of where I talk about finding your dog's threshold and what you do in that threshold. You get them, if you're 10 feet away from the dog and they are reactive, then you move 20 feet away and your dog is fine. That is your dog's threshold. That's not too much to ask. If you have to be on one side of this guy's acreage or whatever he calls it, I forget what he calls it, the pasture, and your dog is at the other end, then fine. Then so be it. Then practice there where your dog is able to, just like I explained earlier, your dog is able to look at the other dog and look away on their own. If your dog is looking at the other dog out of curiosity and smelling the air, let them smell the air. Occasionally, make a noise to get their attention or call their name, but don't constantly be calling their name or telling them to do things. I always say Bobby is the dog's name, so say it's like Bobby, like Bobby, Bobby sit, Bobby look at me, Bobby, Bobby no, Bobby, Bobby look at me, Bobby look at me. Don't do any of that. Just be quiet, be silent. Let your dog take in the environment. If your dog looks at you, mark and reward with a clicker or yes.
Pain is used, right? High-level e-collars are used, prong collars, hardcore corrections, gentle leaders, corrections. Then there's the treat way, where we lure them with a treat, create tons of distance, lure them with a treat. They get around the dog, but they're not really rehearsing passing the dog. They're rehearsing staring at a treat. There are problems with every single way of fixing.
except for his, which his is just as problematic as any prong or shock collar. In fact, or whatever. There's and using positive reinforcement is the safest, most humane way to, and I'll just say it, the best way to train your dog without using pain or pain compliance or force. The force-free positive reinforcement route gets you quicker results if you do it right. If you do it wrong, then that's on you, because it's not the method that fails. If you do it correctly, you will get the results you want. If you don't do it correctly, you're not going to get the results you want. There's no need to use any pain or force or pain compliance, especially when teaching reactivity.
Serious leash reactivity. There is no perfect system. Don't let any dog trainer ever tell you that they have the system for leash reactivity.
I do. I do, but that's literally what he's saying. He's saying his unique, it's not unique, it's just compulsion. His yank and crank method is unique. It's not unique. It's just, again, like I said, compulsion. Old school, outdated method, dangerous method. I have the system that works for me. It works for all the owners that I've worked with. However, if the owners do not continue with that method, they do not continue with the homework, then their dog does not get better. It's as simple as that.
Just under aggression is the most difficult thing in dog training, because it's due to and I'm talking severe. Minor leash reactivity is not hard. When they lose their mind, that's when it becomes difficult. I am going to, in this video...
It's really not that difficult if you know what the dog's triggers are and you can prevent them from getting over threshold. As soon as you see a trigger or you see your dog, spiraling, then that's when we turn around and we go the opposite direction. We increase distance just far enough away for your dog to be under threshold. And when they look at the whatever the trigger is, even if I don't have treats with me, my treat is not in front of their face. But when they can look at the other trigger and not react, I can say yes and let them sniff, or we will just stand there and they become desensitized without having to be rewarded with a treat. And then we continue our walk.
Today, offer you an alternative method for leash reactivity. You're going to see it in real time with a dog, this dog right here, Shadow.
Yeah, see, when he says his name first, Shadow, the dog doesn't do anything. Shadow, and the dog comes up to him.
Who has super bad leash reactivity. Loses its mind, nothing gets it out of it. Now I could say, hey,
he's on a head halter, he's in pain, he's freaking out, he's not conditioned to the head halter, there's a lot of pain involved because there's a lot of sensitive nerve endings in the back there and all over the face, and Joel is popping him and probably, you could easily break your dog's neck or cause a lot of harm by using a head halter the way Joel does.
Your life, but that's not training. Okay, I could say,
ouch.
Go 500 feet and avoid dogs.
Ouch.
Every time you see them, turn around or avoid them so much that you find the threshold. People live in a neighborhood. They can't do that. There's a street.
He's literally just fighting the dog. This is not doing anything.
The only way thing you do is this sidewalk and pass him on that sidewalk. It's 50 feet. Well, if this dog's threshold is 200 feet.
I've had a dog that had a threshold of 200 feet, over 200 feet. I've had a dog who had a threshold of 2 football fields. Sorry, I'm a little grumpy today. But
they live life. Alternative method.
No, it's not alternative. It's just pop and yank and crank and nonsense.
We have to separate those two stimuli. So what we're going to do is we're going to put him on a leash, and we're going to have him with his friends.
I don't know what kind of collar this dog is on. It might be on a martingale, might not. I see a chain. I don't like chains.
Can he be with his friends on a leash? There's rehearsal of one of the stimuli with his friends. So he's technically on with his friends. Let out 3 of his friends. Okay? 3 more of his group, Shadow's group, let them ride out. So all I'm going to do is cruise around with this dog on a leash, and he is going to be with his friends.
Loud hands,
Joel,
pop.
It's his friends. I know it's his friends. His leash reactivity is so bad, we have to break this thing down. We have to fracture and separate the stimuli. So this dog is technically, I'm not impressed by it. I don't expect you to be impressed by it. This dog is technically on a leash with 2 dogs. Oh, but there is friends.
I think that's impressive. I would start rewarding him for that.
I know there's friends. I told you how hard leash reactivity is. You've got to start somewhere.
He's by the little tapping and things, he has loud hands. He doesn't realize that he's teaching the dog to ignore that. For me, I see that as loud hands. I wouldn't be moving the leash all mumbo jumbo, you know, because I'm going to cause the dog to ignore that as a possible cue.
So,
tight, short leash,
and
lip
there's
lick.
a new dog in the side. So, oh, this isn't special. It's not special, but it's
Good.
a starting
You can reward him for that.
point. It
Good
is
boy.
It's the very lowest starting point.
Dragging
Let
him.
his 3 friends out.
He could have rewarded him for that dog, for him looking and moving away.
He is on a
tight
leash, and he is seeing dogs. They are off leash. They are his friends.
Wow, dog in the back there already has hackles up. Very high hackles. The hackles can be from excitement. They can be from, you know, starting reactivity, but that's the hair on the back of on the back right there. I think it's called piloerection, or that might be where the tail is standing up on. And forgive me if I don't, you know, have the cue, the names right.
I don't care. I told you how hard leash reactivity
lip lick.
And if you have severe leash reactivity,
he should be rewarding the dog here.
He is now rehearsing being on a leash, one of the stimuli, and he is seeing dogs run around.
Quit dragging him around. You should be rewarding him.
The stimuli. I'm not that impressed. I don't expect you to be them.
I'm impressed. I know you're not impressed because you're an idiot. You don't know anything, but I would be, you know, I think that's fine. That's great to be impressed. I think people should be impressed with that because that's where you start.
But you got to start somewhere. He is now feeling the leash. Oh, that's a good boy.
If you wouldn't talk with the leash in your damn hand, then he would understand a little bit more and he'd be lighter. But you're loud-handed, you're obnoxious. You're going to make your dog loud and obnoxious, meaning that they're not soft and they don't respond to light pressure. If I'm pulling on my collar here, or I'm pushing on my hat here, that's how light I work to make dogs so that way they can be so sensitive that they, not out of force and pain, but that they can understand that, oh, this means something. This means something. It takes this much pressure to get you to slow down and stop pulling. It takes this much pressure to remind you, hey, slow down a little bit. Or if if you get stuck on something, if I drop the leash and you happen to get stuck on a tree and you go, you feel that much, you're not going to freak out. You're just going to sit there and wait.
He is now moving. He is now walking. He is now listening. He is seeing a doggy. He's on leash. I know they're his friends. You got to start somewhere in life.
That cute little puppy.
Severe leash reactivity is almost a mental disorder. They can't control themselves. They lose it. You have to. People go to therapy for years to get rid of mental disorders. Leave it. Okay, let's go. Him on a leash.
Screaming at people.
Walk him out. Let all the dogs say hi to him. Then we are going to pass. I'm moving kind of quick. I'm probably moving too quick.
You are. You always are.
2 hours long? Do this thing for 2 days? So technically...
Oh, because he only expects to do it for 1 day, for 1 hour, for one 20-minute session. He's an idiot.
If this dog can pass this bull terrier, this will technically be a rehearsal while on leash, while seeing a brand new dog he's never seen on leash, and he will be passing the dog. Look at him. He's into it. Now, yes...
Reward the dog there for looking away on his own.
It's not the real world, but you have to start somewhere.
It's okay that I would be okay with him standing here. I would have him on more leash. I would have the bull terrier at the other end of this area. And as long as this dog here is able to walk back and forth and be totally calm, and I would reward him for looking and looking away. And there's your practice.
All the dogs are saying hi to the bull terrier. All we're going to do is you're going to come over here and we're going to pass. He's getting a little more worked up. There is
that's your fault.
He is on a leash, and there is a new dog on leash, and he sees that.
I would get the other dogs out of there because it's not fair to either of the dogs on leash.
But we're setting them up for success.
No, you're setting him up for failure by having all these dogs out and bringing another leash dog that he doesn't know up to him.
And we're going to walk. I'm going to...
Jesus. Sorry. Tight, loud hand, just jerking the dog back to his side. Bully.
I'm going to have some control. We are going to pass. Good boy.
Abusive technique.
Good boy.
That he used to teach this dog to not pull ahead of him. Dragging him away. Knee him. It's not fair to either of these dogs. Setting him up for failure, not success. He's a liar.
Good boy. I'm going to give a little bit of... So... It's the
No reinforcement. The good boy doesn't mean diddly squat. Don't try to give me that.
perfect step. Stay right there.
It is not the perfect step.
Reaction,
You're insane if you think
but
that.
it was literally 10% of the normal reaction. Now, why was it 10%?
Quit tapping him like that. Adonis would react to you. He would have absolutely gone back and nipped at your hand or your leg. He'd be like, "Stop tapping me like that." And it's not a tap, it's a jab. Stop jabbing me, because he likes Caesar Milan and they're both idiots. Lip lick.
Percent of the normal reaction. He technically passed the dog, barely reacted. That dog is on the leash.
Because he was so damn distracted by the other dogs here. This is not even fair. He's distracted by too many things in the environment. He's distracted by you. Instead of having a treat in his face to distract him, all you're doing is correcting him over and over and over and over again. And that distracts him from looking at the other dog. He can't look at the other dog without getting corrected. I want him to look at the other dog. How do you expect him to get over it? I want him to look at the other dog when he's under threshold so he can learn to become desensitized to what the trigger is for him. I don't know why that's so hard for trainers like this to understand.
This dog is on the leash.
He's doing no different than if you were to continually distract your dog by having a piece of cheese in front of their face the whole time until something walks by. That's not going to help it. I mean, that would be the other end of the spectrum. Instead of using force, you're using a treat, but your dog still doesn't learn. I want them to be able to look at the other dog and learn that, hey, I can look at this dog, I can tolerate their presence, and they're not going to hurt me. I can even feel comfortable in their presence. I don't have to be friends with them. I don't have to like them. I don't have to play with them. But I can be comfortable with them.
Is it in the real world? No, we got to get there. This is a process.
Yeah, it's a process, not an event. And he expects to get it done in one day because he's an idiot.
A lot of mayhem going on over here. Hey! Chill! Brian, push the Vizsla away. Push him away.
How about you get the dogs out of here and you stop setting everybody up for failure?
Hey. Push him away.
No, don't push him away. You're going to make that dog reactive.
We're going to get another pass. He has not met this dog. He is on leash. That dog is on leash. Walk. I'm going to do my deal. He can't just go anywhere he wants to go.
He is going to make this dog hand shy. He is an absolute danger. He's a dangerous trainer. Ouch. 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 If you do a correction one time and it doesn't work, and you do it a second time and it doesn't work, and you do it 4 or 5 more times, you should stop doing that type of correction because it's not working. It is not working. Ouch, 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 ouch.
Good boy.
Oh, good boy. Yeah, you're a good boy. I just jabbed you in the side and popped you on the leash 10 times, 15 times. But that one good boy is supposed to be okay. Even though you're so distracted by your friends and a new dog, you're really not learning anything other than this dog isn't learning anything. It's learned helplessness, if anything.
It's actually not a good boy. I should not.
He's not a good boy. Oh, wow. Careful, you're going to fall off that little step there if you're not careful. Going to take the dog down with you.
Say that.
God. If you want to go back and count, how many times has this dog been corrected? So he has to get closer to him. He has to get closer to the collar. This is absolutely setting the dog up for failure. So he has to use the clicky to get the dog's attention. The dog gives him his attention. Reward for that. The dog right here is under threshold enough because of his abusive technique. It's not unique, it's abusive.
Okay, so
he's just holding him. He's not even rewarding the dog. He got the dog's attention, and now he's grabbing it by the collar and the skin and the scruff, and he's correcting the dog. Whether he sees it or not as a correction, this dog is giving lip licks, and the dog is not comfortable. You can't tell me that that would not be seen as some kind of correction. Someone grabs you by the collar when you finally give them your attention. God, this guy, he sucks. He's a horrible trainer.
You're going to put the Vizsla away. Please. Quickly.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for putting the dog away. Thank you for saying please. And thank you.
Even that step was too much.
It was too much, yes. And it was also too much because you were correcting the dog. I could do this so easily. I could have that bull terrier and him walking past each other in probably 20 minutes. I mean, maybe not. It's not about a short period of time. It's about the fact that I could have this dog looking at me practicing sits and downs and tricks and whatnot with this bull terrier running around in the background. I could probably get this dog within 20 feet of the terrier, maybe 10 feet, on a loose leash, on a harness. And that doesn't say that I'm better than him. It says that I've practiced this enough without having to rely on pain and force and fear and intimidation and teaching a dog to develop learned helplessness and flooding the dog. I don't have to touch a dog to be able to get them to be okay with other dogs. I mean, I do it all the time. I have classes full of 6 dogs that are all just like this.
His friends were walking around, so I'm trying to go quick.
Abuse.
Could have gone a little slower. Even though his dogs are around, he technically is on a leash, which is the triggering stimulus, and that dog, that bull terrier, is on a leash and he's never met that dog. It's as close to real life as we can get. And you're seeing him, you're seeing how strong one of the 2 triggers are. Is it him on a leash or is it the other dog on a leash? I think it's 50-50. He can't control his brain. Brian, please go there.
Pop.
He cannot control his brain. We are going to add a little bit of corrections.
A little bit. You corrected him 25 or 30 times by now.
But he's better. He sees the dog. He cannot control himself, so we're going to have to do...
You need to give him more leash so he doesn't feel trapped. He can't move. Anytime he moves, you start to correct him because you think he's going to be reactive.
We're going to have to do some of this stuff. Sit.
No, you're not. Pop.
So he says, yeah, I'll sit. I'm going to sit looking at that dog. And I'm saying, yeah, no, that's not the way this thing works.
Why not let him look at the dog? Quit popping him.
I don't care about that dog. So.
I want him. Oh, you need him in the head. He need the dog aggressively in the head.
Do I want to do an e-collar? No, because then he can't event. You do that much pain, high, turned up.
The amount of pain that you're doing now, it would be more humane with one shock of an e-collar than it would with this. Don't use an e-collar. That doesn't mean e-collars are humane. Compared to the 2 options, he would have 1 correction. He would still be flooded. He would develop learned helplessness, but he wouldn't be in this constant fight of pop and knee and pop and jab and knee to the head and putting a head halter on him and fighting him with that. This method, this unique leash method, is going to get you absolutely nowhere. It's going to take 10 times the amount of time that it would take if you use positive reinforcement and treats and or real life rewards or whatever you want to use, positive reinforcement. But he's teaching you an insane method that he thinks is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Up e-collars, you do that much pain, they can never meet the dog. And he's good with dogs.
I agree.
So we want to keep...
Well, you're going to make him not great with dogs. The way you're doing this. Don't keep your dog from looking at the other dog. He's not ready for that. I mean, if I would be happy if this dog would choose on his own to look at me away from the other dog. That's my goal, is for him to do it on his own. This failure of a trainer is trying to act like he's all great and he's all successful and okay.
I'm good with dogs. But this is not... I don't live in a world where he goes, yeah, I'll sit, but I'm going to sit looking at the dog.
Well, then you're an over-controlling control freak.
I could care less what this dog wants to do. It matters.
That's exactly why you're an abusive, dangerous bully. That's why I call you an idiot. That's why I call you all these names, because you call the dogs all these names. You don't care about the dog. I don't care about you. I don't care about your feeling. I don't care about whatever anybody else wants. I care about what the dog wants. I care about what the dog needs. The dog needs to get the hell away from you. You shouldn't be able to work with animals. Work with a killer whale in the water with them like this? Correct them like this? You'd be dead.
There's to me none, and we're not going to let him do it. Okay, so
There was a little
he
pop
was
there.
too
Finger pop
stimulated.
there.
So we can create some distance, right? We're going to use all
Finger.
these methods.
Pop.
This is technically punishment.
Knee in the face. There's no positive reinforcement here. This is positive punishment and negative reinforcement. Positive punishment means you add something to punish the dog to stop a behavior, which he is not even successful in doing that because he's not stopping the behavior. Negative reinforcement means I'll lift up on this collar until you sit. And I'll cause pain and discomfort until something negative. I add something negative to it until you do what I want, and then I release that pressure.
Operantly punishing him, and we're kind of not letting him, trying to not let him see the dog.
He's looking at the dog now.
Look at this. Okay, go nuts. Oh, we got a dog who's into us.
Lick. No, he's a dog who's avoiding his abusive master at this point. You're a slave driver, and he's the slave.
Method, right? And we're going to walk. Brian, please go over there as far as you can.
This dog is afraid to take a step.
Okay, and you can sometimes like let a dog.
His feet might be burning. His back feet are moving kind of odd. Watch his back feet here. That one moved up.
Okay, and you can sometimes like let
this
a
one
dog
lifted up.
Like, you don't have to, you know.
He's dancing around.
I'm not gonna let him...
I think his feet are burning. I think it's so hot out here. He's actually burning his feet by standing on this. Or maybe there's ants or there's stickers there.
Sit wherever he wants to sit, but
he's not comfortable. He's dancing around on his feet.
Looking at the dog.
His feet are burning.
He's creeping. There's no creeping. There's no creeping. He's with me.
Psycho. Psychopath.
With me.
He doesn't care about the dog. He doesn't even
now
realize the dog is dancing because their feet are possibly burning or something's bothering this dog's feet. He doesn't care about the dog hurting their feet because he's such a narcissist. He thinks that, you know, he's God's gift to dogs, and he's not.
If we get a pass here.
Ouch.
We get a pass. Then we technically got a pass of a dog, a rehearsal of walking.
Avoidance behavior.
Past another dog.
So you're gonna expect the owner to abuse their dog just like you did? Over and over and over again every time they see a dog? I followed abusive techniques using a prong collar and a choke chain with my Shiba Inu. When Adonis was young, he wasn't even a year old. And I used a prong collar on him, and I made him yelp, and I made him cry because I got into a fight with him because I listened to dangerous, abusive, ignorant, uneducated trainers. The way Joel teaches. They use compulsion. They use prong collars. He doesn't use prong collars. But I would jerk and pop on Adonis, and he would cry and yelp, and we got into such a fight. And I regret that. 13 years later, he's been gone for over a year and a half. And I still think about the mistakes I made with him. I didn't like it. I didn't trust it. I was at the end of my wits. It doesn't matter. Adonis didn't care. It caused his trachea to collapse. And 12 years later, he was still dealing with it. This is why I am so hell-bent on opening people's eyes that you don't have to listen to these liars. These snake oil salesmen. You don't have to follow these techniques.
Good boy. Good boy.
The dog doesn't care about your good boy or your clapping.
Why do I tell this dog he's the greatest dog in the history of the world?
Ouch, Pop.
Where's he going? Because...
Ouch.
This is, by the way, this is the leg flip. All it is, it's not a punishment. It doesn't hurt him. They don't care.
Oh, it doesn't hurt. Then why does it work? Why do you do it if it doesn't hurt them? It's not anything positive. He's a liar. He's a silver-tongued devil. He's a liar.
All it does is flips them a little bit. So dogs learn to get their body. They do this.
When they're nervous, they lean into pressure. If you would know anything about dogs, you know that they lean into pressure. He's trying to find comfort, even in his abuser.
They go, watch to see if this guy ever looks at me while he's leaning on me. Why would he look at me?
Because you've abused him. Because you've been tormenting him. You've been forceful with him. You've been jabbing him and popping him and dragging him. He gives lip licks when he's around you. He has no bond with you other than you are an aggressive idiot and he's tied to you.
Why would he look at you? He's leaning on you. He knows where you are. Now watch. Oh!
He's not looking at you. He's looking at the ground. He's looking near you, at your leg.
Where's that guy? You can't let your dog get in any position they want to get.
Why not? Who is he to tell you? Who is he to tell you to not let your dog lean on you or be comfortable, find comfort leaning against you or touching you? Because he has no relationship with his dog. He doesn't want anybody else to.
Then.
Jerks and... Then he aggressively jerks and pops him because he's mad that the dog won't look at him.
Okay, now we're going to pass again, Brian. Please go over there. Now we're going to go.
This dog is looking for the
little
shade.
Closer.
The other dogs are looking for the
Oh,
shade.
he sees the dog.
The dog is close to him and he pushes it away. If you want to do everything wrong, this guy is teaching you everything to do wrong when working with an aggressive dog.
Why did I do that? Because he can't lean on me.
He's trying to obey you. He's trying to please you.
Hey! Push her off.
He might be
Put her
burning
away.
his damn feet.
Put her away.
Can you say please? Can you say thank you?
Oh, he's just staring at the dog?
Let's knee him in the face.
Because the dog's moving? That's not the way this thing works.
I have no problem with him looking at the dog. That's not a hard stare. Yeah, he's looking with intent. You know, he says, hey, who is that? I would stand there with him on the end of his 6 foot, or with him with a 6 foot leash, and he can do whatever he wants as long as he's not barking or lunging. And if he's staring at the dog, I would increase distance. I would make a clicky noise. I would wait for him to look at me because by now he and I would be best buddies. Because you're damn right. Because I'm the treat lady, and because I don't abuse him the way this control freak does.
He's got to know where I am.
He doesn't care where
times.
you are. Why should he care where you are?
He is tough. He's tough.
You're just an idiot. You don't know what the hell you're doing. And so you act like this is some tough dog. This dog is easy. I guarantee that I could have him working just fine with the other dog, 10 feet away. And I don't have to show anything to prove it. If the owners still have... Hi, baby girl. If the owners still have problems with him, I will help them for free. I will absolutely help them for free. You want to come up here, baby girl?
Friends thing. We did an exercise thing where he
We're at
wasn't
the end
full
to
of
see what
energy.
the end result is.
Now we're going to pass the dog.
This dog is so overwhelmed.
Good boy. So, I
Still
was glad
looking
he
at the other
looked
dog.
A lot of dogs like this, they'll learn, and especially with e-collars and prongs, they'll actually walk by the dog and they'll go, I'm not looking, I'm not looking, I'm not looking. You want the dog to look because...
You're so confusing. Hi, baby girl. You need help? Are you stuck? Are you stuck? Come on. Come on. So in one instance, he wants him to look at the dog, and then most of the time, 99% of the time, he doesn't want him to look. He's so confusing. Good girl. All right, I've had enough of this moron. This guy just... Hope you all got something from this video. I will be doing... My next video will be me going over a dog I worked with named Zeus, showing you how I work and the mistakes I made in that video while working with this dog. So stay tuned for that so I can show you that this is part 1 of how you don't work with a dog, and part 2 of how you can work with a dog to actually get results. Although things happen in real life, and you're going to see what happens in that video. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you all are doing well. Say hi to your little critters. Say hi to you for me. Give them some kind of love and they appreciate. And until next time, practice peace, patience, and positivity.